What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Please make sure to follow along on social media at Matt O'Leary NY and make sure to subscribe to the Just Jets podcast. All right, in today's video, I want to talk about two things that I've been noticing from training camp, both positive, both on the offensive side of the ball. First, we will start with Zach Wilson, who is now QB2. And I want to preface what I'm talking about with Zach Wilson by saying this. Zach is far from a completed project. He is now at this point a reclamation project. He was drafted to be the starter for this team as the number 2 overall pick. The expectation was him to come in and be the long-term starter for this team. That hasn't been the case. They go out and get Aaron Rodgers, but more than likely Zach Wilson is going to be QB2 for this year. So in the first preseason game against the Cleveland Browns, I was looking for things that you could potentially get excited about. I thought he was up and down. There were a couple nice moments. There were a couple not so great moments. And from training camp and OTAs, I think he's been a little up and down, a little rocky, which unfortunately has been part of his issue so far in the NFL. He's been a little inconsistent, but there was a play from training camp yesterday that I wanted to highlight and talk about why I think this is a positive and how it's different from something that we've seen from Zach Wilson. So he gets rid of the ball quickly and fires it up the seam because he notices pressure is going to come in his face fast. He gets the ball out of his hands fast, gets the ball upfield. That is something that we haven't seen from Zach Wilson in his first 2 years in the league. Unfortunately, he was very poor at recognizing and reading defenses, which is part of the reason why you saw some pretty bad interceptions early on in his career, why he's taken so many sacks, why he tends to bail out on the pocket, all things that we've seen. And obviously, like, they're not going to hit the quarterback, but still, like, what I liked is gets the ball, fires it out quickly, makes a decision, sticks by it. His indecisiveness through his first 2 years in the league, indecisiveness has been a major problem for him. Holding on to the ball too long has been a major problem. Taking too many sacks, bailing on the pocket. You know, you can list off so many things that have gone wrong for Zach Wilson, but for him to just rifle one in there with and show off the arm strength, get the ball out, make a play, like, that's what you're asking for of Zach Wilson. That's all we've wanted. And for someone to be QB2, like him making that read and just getting the ball out of his hand and into a playmaker's hands, that's the job of a backup quarterback. You're not going to ask your backup to come in and throw 50 times a game, unless you're Mike LaFleur, come in and throw 50 times a game and try to throw for 400 yards. But can he come in and manage a football game, give you a performance similar to what he did against Miami or what he did against Buffalo in the first game, 2 games that they won and 2 games that I thought he played pretty well in? You don't need him to throw the ball 40 times a game, but if God forbid he did have to come in, can he come in and make those simple reads? And something like that, I think, shows a little bit of a positive in his development. Does that mean he is a finished product? No. Does that mean that he is a starting caliber quarterback right now? No. Does this mean that he is for sure the answer after Aaron Rodgers is done? No. Again, want to preface this because sometimes you talk about things and people take part of what you say and then launch it into this other thing and make it something that it's not. I'm not saying Zach Wilson's ready to start. I'm saying he made a tangible improvement in his game. And I just wanted to point that out and highlight it because I think it's worth noting. The other thing that I wanted to get into was the Jets tight end. CJ Uzomah had this to say after practice yesterday.
I don't know if you were watching practice too much today, but the tight ends kind of feasted today, so it was a great day for us. We're on the same page.
He said the Jets tight ends were feasting, and we've noticed that. To me, at least, I've noticed that the Jets tight ends have been significantly more involved with Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett. That's something that I am a big fan of. I like the Jets tight end room a lot. Having Tyler Conklin, who more than likely be the leader of the clubhouse there, having a veteran in CJ Uzomah, vet presence who could still catch the ball, good blocker, Jeremy Ruckert, someone who I think has a lot of upside, has had a really good training camp. Last year, the 3 of those guys combined for just 792 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think that number is significantly higher this upcoming year. I think the 3 of them combined to go over 1,000 yards, and I think that's going to be closer to 10 touchdowns combined. Maybe not 10, but not 5, like 8, 9, somewhere in that range. Conklin had over 500 yards last year. I think maybe he gives you similar production there, 500-600 yards, but you're also seeing more from Uzomah and Ruckert as well in the passing game and in the red zone. Like, that's something else too that both Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett like to do. They like to get the tight ends involved in the red zone, and that's not something the Jets did seemingly at all. Like that was very, very rare that the Jets were getting their tight ends involved. And I just think it's good to utilize all the weapons at your disposal. People talk about the Jets wide receiver core and how it's too top heavy and how it's Garrett Wilson and nobody else after that. And I don't necessarily think that's fair, by the way. I like the Jets supporting cast and Lazard and Davis and Hardman and Cobb and Brownlee as your 6 receivers. I think that's a solid group. Is it elite? Is it the Eagles or the Dolphins or the Bengals? No. Is it a middle of the pack group? Yes. And I think that's more than okay when you factor in the tight end room and the running back room and everything else that goes into the weapons. So I'm all about it. Utilize those tight ends, baby. So there we go. Just wanted to talk about those 2 things quickly in a video today. Let me know your thoughts on both Zach Wilson and the tight end room if you think the tight ends are going to get more involved this year. I certainly do. Sound off below. Subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time.